I think Susie Lee is guilty of that.
Yeah.
Just as you said, she refuses to stand up for Nevada.
That's where I would like to President Trump to kind of also step in and talk about that.
The insurance companies have been able to make so much money because of the lack of transparency, and this is how they arbitrage prices so high, is because people don't know what the value of things are or what other people are paying for things. The Transparency Acts, the laws that Trump is advocating for, will help tremendously with that. How's Trump doing on AI policy and regulation?
AI should be learned in school. Kids should learn AI. AI should not be used at mass scale with exploitation and especially content for children.
I'm Dr. Ori Nagy with the Ori Nagy Show. I'm running for U.S. Congress in Nevada's 3rd Congressional District. Today I have with me Dr. Anna Tchaikovsky, who has done so many things it's hard to list them all, but in addition to working for Google and working on AI and having a law degree and a degree in business and finance and working for the state of Nevada in the asset relief program for housing, she is extremely accomplished. I'm very lucky to have her on the show speaking with me today. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
I think one of the things that you know that you're an expert on, that's most pertinent and most on people's minds today is AI. And people are worried about AI taking their jobs and about their future, and they're concerned about the Genius Act that was just passed and whether or not AI needs additional regulation. In a short version that people can understand, can you summarize what the Genius Act did and what people can expect about how AI will impact their lives in the next 2 to 3 years and how it will affect the economy?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Genius Act was really about digitization of the assets and really introducing a tokenization and just the newest and the modern way how we can invest and have an ownership of the asset. But with the AI and current administration, that is extremely bullish on AI, and that's what they see as they putting a lot of different bills in place, and especially President Trump, he made several different executive orders investing in data centers, investing in infrastructure, investing into America to be the more than just a pioneer of AI and technology, but really harness the power of our whole nation and increase productivity and economic prosperity, what comes together. And I think this administration sees that if we're not going to be first, we're going to be last. And we are in the race with other almost ready superpowers like China and then other actors there. There are some of them very friendly with us, like European Union, for example, but some of them not. And we do have to figure it out how we harness the power of AI in very safe way in order to bring that economic prosperity, to really help businesses and from early childhood development to as seniors, how we can make everyone's lives better. So this is what we are coming, as I always say, it's going to be tectonic shift. It's going to be a wave where AI, everybody say, will take a lot of job away, and there are different numbers by industry leaders, by people that are actually creating AI right now, like the Anthropic CEO says, there's going to be major shift. It's like a lot of people's going to lose job. Other people, they say, well, there are going to be a lot of jobs going to be created, and I think we still don't know, because AI first will take the jobs of people that are creating AI, believe it or not, which is the software engineers, which is the technical people. And then it will go after the professionals, the accountants, the lawyers, and maybe in future over also physicians and in the healthcare. And we need actually to use as AI as our co-pilot, as our assistant, as our truly our professional co-worker that will help us in those very mundane tasks that just waste a lot of resources. So that's where the opportunities are. There is also, on another hand, there is I would say fears, like what if, the AI will, they go on tangent and they will take over system, they will go and shut off the electrical grid or water resources, or just going to start doing like a cyber attacks or something. And that's a really threat. Why? Because already human from not so friendly states, that's what they're doing. That's what they're working on. It. That's the attackers. For example, they injected prompt in Claude, and they were able to access of like 100 millions of data files in Mexico government. It just happened recently. And it's more of that happened that, bad actors, people will be using AI and train AI for just really with bad intent to do a lot of malice. And we need to figure it out also guardrail, how we gonna stop that, or how we gonna curtail and limit that exposure of AI being used for criminal activities. I think in Nevada, it's a huge opportunity. We do have to diversify our economy, and I'm so excited that you are running for Congress. Congratulations on that. I think you will gonna win because you are bringing the fresh perspective of a professional working physician that is being, also a business owner, and also, looking into education and to employment, and just touch so many different industries vertically and horizontally where AI needs to help us to be prosperous as a state and diversify our economy. And I'm really excited for that. So, yeah.
Well, no, thank you. One of the problems we have here in Nevada that will affect this election and all elections to follow is voter integrity, right? And you talked about tokenization of information to ensure authenticity. Is there a pathway where that can be utilized for voters to ensure that this voter voted and their vote was counted, and we can ensure that? Because even if we go to voter ID, people will still wonder if the votes were counted correctly. Right. And does tokenization allow for people with more certainty than that?
Absolutely, and that's a blockchain. That's absolutely a blockchain. We allowed for to embed it, and the authentication that first of all the voter is eligible voter, right? So they have they are U.S. citizens and they're eligible to vote in that state, per different requirements per every state. And also the second thing, we could also make sure that every vote is accounted for, is not misrepresented, and is audited. And first time in the history, we could have public audit for everybody to see. So there is no, like right now, like you have a few people in the rooms from the Republicans and Democrats, and they reconning 3 or 5, 10 times, and you know what I mean? And it's just all the cameras, and they checking the footage, and it's just so much oversight, and still those parties just don't trust themselves. It's like, I don't trust you to check my stuff, and you don't trust my workflows. So with the blockchain, now think about it, on the public, on some type of website, we could kind of see, okay, in Nevada, this is what are eligible voters, and they have the special IDs, and that's how they voted, and we can completely track that in very transparent way. But we can also do in anonymous way to, of course, not to reveal the voter's identity, so they can feel like they can, vote, based on their discretion, not because the big brother is watching over that. So there is probably needs to be, and it's already starting with, with the new bill is being on the floor, being passed to make sure that no one is eligible to vote without proper identification. But that next step, that full step, is to digitize that. We spoke to someone from Iowa. They're looking into those type of initiatives. And I think it really, federal government can do a lot, but if we as a state, we are just start forwarding that type of initiative and putting in front of it, that would be a huge, if Nevada could be a pioneer of that voting system, and it will be marked in the history of like voter transparency, right? And now we're just looking forward if you would get there to just put this and put us on the map.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe we can get somebody on the team to vibe code that next weekend, right?
Here we go. We can do the lovable.
So the story would be you'd go to the voting machine, you do your vote, it would print out a ticket with a unique identifying number, and now you can take your unique identifying number with you, so it's anonymized because nobody knows what your unique identifying number was. And that gets built into the blockchain, so you can go back and look and see that your vote was in fact counted. you can audit because, if anybody's name shows up that didn't have a ticket to match it, that you'll know there's fraud.
Yeah, and that will also help with with the mailing ballots, and people could probably vote from home, especially if they're bounded to different facilities and stuff like that, that they're just not able to get there and vote. And that would be far more better, with the technology to scan and verify their identity, so that the vote can be registered on the
I'd be
elected
against the
devices.
people voting from home just because you don't know about coercion. Right?
That's very true too.
So you don't know.
And their mental state, their mental state.
So they should be in, and there should be witnessed by people who are there.
Yeah, and we could probably set up with the technology, stuff like that, some type of checks and balances to have volunteers, to come in and maybe assist those people with some type of voting, if they're eligible to vote. There will be some probably maybe secondary system that there is a human in the loop that is kind of watching over. And we do need a human in the loop, period. Even when we fully digitize everything, we need a human in the loop oversight, because think about AI in the system. Everything can be perceptive to cyber attacks, mistakes, and their human should be able to check and verify, make sure that there is an audit trail of everything, right? So I'll be very excited to forward the bill next year for the on the federal level, and really start working with everything with the state here. The Secretary of State, the new Secretary of State, that will be, kind of putting the mold together, putting the technology together, getting the right vendors, getting the program together.
I'm happy to help with that, and I'm pretty sure that's something Trump would support.
Yeah, and I'll be happy to help on the technical side.
We'd love to have you on board.
And I'll be happy to put on the technical side. And hey, I can vibe code it over the weekend as well, or just regularly code it. But no, that's I think this we've been kind of lacking in Nevada, and it's hard to say, but for since Senator Reid died, which was a kind of voice for Nevada. We've been kind of lacking the right representation, and just to bring the innovation and the action and just the voice that we are one of the greatest states, really, and we have so much to offer, not just entertainment, but the technological. I mean, the fact that companies, the lot of startups are actually here. And we are bedrock of innovation. It's just that we need to have a bigger voice, and we need to have a right leader to help us to take this to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I think Harry Reid, he was the third most powerful man in the country for a while, and he brought a lot of money to Nevada. I don't like a lot of things he did national policy-wise, but in terms of the things that Trump is doing, tell me, how's Trump doing on AI policy and regulation?
It's very interesting because he wants to make sure that AI with free flow would not be kind of limited. And he's receiving a lot of pushback, especially in Utah. I think that's where there are a lot coming with different bills that AI should be moderated. I think he is very forward-looking, and we need that. We need the push in order to win this race. On the same side, we need more thought leaders to help us to kind of protect children and protect especially in content moderation space, right, where the AI and the AI algorithms are misused by usually big corporations, like Meta and Google and YouTube, and for just pure greed, and kids are explored. And and AI is not a culprit here. It's more just corporate executives and stuff like that. They're using AI to explore, our attention, and that trickles down to children, right? So we need to have some type of balance, and I think that's where I would like to President Trump to kind of also step in and talk about that, and help with those initiatives that AI it's done for so many good wills. AI should be learned in school. Kids should learn AI,
I agree.
But in the same time, especially for the media, social media, AI should not be used at that mass scale with that type of exploitation and kind of a little bit careless, especially accordance to, content for children.
So it'll be important then for Trump to have a House majority so that he can get the laws passed that he's going to need to get passed in order to execute on these objectives. If he doesn't get a House majority, then they're going to try and impeach him every week, and it's going to be a disaster for our country. So it's a very important election cycle.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important election cycle that we had for a long, long time, because there are so many things on the table. You think about all the different enemies and from different states that are coming at us, and AI, and there is and now the kind of enemies are almost like invisible, because people are using AI, could be China, could be Russia, could be different state actors, and they're using this invisible kind of weapon. And we can really lose if we are not, unified as a nation, unify in passing the right law in order to keep us safe, on like a physical safety, cybersecurity safety, all the different things. And I think that's when President Trump really needs a lot of help, and from people like yourself to really win this state. I mean, it's extremely courageous, to going after, and I know you are your person that, competition is Susie Lee. She's been since 2018, she's not sure who voted, but okay, but she maybe people would just recognize the name, and you have to go through that and, to make sure to put your name out there so people will know your initiative and your experience that you have as a person. And I think that's what we need. We need really a fresh thought leaders in the states. That should be some type of limit on how many times you can serve in, Congress and Senate, and those career politicians, just not really good for our country. We need some fresh blood and innovative thinkers like yourself.
No, I agree with you on that. I think it was Ben Franklin who said that politicians should be changed like diapers, frequently and often, and for the same reasons.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's we do need, because it's still, and we see some of the politicians that's been for such a long time, unfortunately, they don't do anything for the nation. It's become for them a job, 9 to 5, and they're just not taking action. They're not taking risks. They're not, and you as a person, you do have to take a risk for your constituents. And some of those actions are not easy. Some of them are very polarized. Some of people will not like you for that. Some people gonna, put really bad media releases about your thoughts, but you're gonna have to stand for your constituents and what's best for them, not to, and unfortunately those career politicians, they're cowards. They're just, hiding in the rooms, and they just don't want to do anything for the constituents.
I think Susie Lee is guilty of that. Just as you said, she refuses to stand up for Nevada. She didn't stand up for the voting against no taxes on tips. She didn't vote against or she didn't vote for no taxes on tips. She didn't vote for no taxes on Social Security. She didn't vote for no taxes on overtime pay. These are all things that are important for Nevadans. 25% of the people in this district make money on tips. 25% of people earn Social Security income here, and more than 25% benefit from overtime. If she's not voting for the people in this district, then who's she standing up for? She's standing up for the special interests who are funding her campaigns.
Absolutely, and for the lobbying group. And I love that your perspective also on healthcare. And I think the Republican Party needs professionals like yourself who know healthcare from the OR, from the operating rooms, from the waiting rooms, from the receptionists, and all around how that works, from the insurance side, right? So from the pharmaceutical companies, from all the different levels in order to solve that problem, because it's going to become a bigger and bigger problem as we are moving into this thing that, people's going to live longer and better, but in the same time with all and the food is bad and everything all around it, and pollution, it's going to impacting our healthcare, and people need a better healthcare, right?
Absolutely.
So we need a voice like yourself that comes from truly experience, that is able to solve the healthcare problem in a very reasonable way, make sure that people have adequate and affordable healthcare, and at the same time, it's very reasonable way allocated through the whole society, right? So there's accountability for that, right? So the services are not wasted, and the healthcare is really, those money are spent on the area that it should be spent, right?
Yeah, we have a very workable plan that should increase accountability in healthcare. It should return power back to the states so that the plans that are built more closely benefit the needs of the people. It holds the CEOs of the companies accountable to the people they're caring for. And I think we can use it to save as much as 10% of the gross domestic product, which would be about $3 trillion a year. So I think that's the best way to fix the economy, is if we fix the healthcare system, we stop these giant corporations and siphoning money out of the state to send to Wall Street, where it goes to investors in China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, the central banks of Europe. Instead, that money will all stay here. And if everybody in the country feels richer because they have more money, because their health insurance premiums have been lowered, that's more money they can spend on the things they need that they'll put in banks. And when banks have more money, interest rates will fall. When interest rates fall, more businesses are started, more construction happens. It'll be like the economy's running on jet fuel. And I think that's the best way to do it. I don't think any of the other people who are running in my race have the capacity to do that. I'm not sure how many people in the country have the
No,
capacity
and
to execute on this.
I think there's someone who has really truly experienced, boots on the ground and working so many years in the healthcare system, and you've seen the good and bad, right? What's happening? You can truly provide an assessment and the correct program, and as far as a lawmaking perspective, we need help. What I see the biggest problem is so many companies, insurance companies, that are so vertically integrated, right? So, like United Healthcare, I think they own Aetna, they own a couple other, insurance plans, they own CVS, they own, the prescription, they own, drug companies and everything. And it's just a huge vertical integration that we need have some type of diversity that for another market entering, in the supply chain, that be providing more insurance plans and more, pharmacies and access to affordable drugs and stuff like that. And unfortunately, when everything is controlled by few companies, that's not going to be possible, because in their best interest is to keep control and the price is high.
The insurance companies have been able to make so much money because of the lack of transparency, and this is how they arbitrage prices so high, is because people don't know what the value of things are or what other people are paying for things. The Transparency Act, the laws that Trump is advocating for, will help tremendously with that. And I'm looking forward to AI being more carefully integrated into the healthcare system, both in helping people compare prices, but also in helping people find out what all the resources are available to them to evaluate their needs, and to help triage patients who come into the hospital system through the emergency room, or maybe before they get to the hospital. So they can find out, sometimes it doesn't take a trip to the ER to solve the problem that you have. Sometimes you can wait till the next day, talk to your primary care doctor, and solve it for much lower cost, both for you and for the healthcare system overall.
Yeah, and there's such a huge waste, I think, what's happening with the welfare programs, and especially the homelessness, and, very closely related to the fentanyl epidemic that we are facing. And everybody will be swiping this kind of problem under the rug, and we seeing right now there billions and billions are flowing into those programs, and we don't see any type of improvements. People are on the streets still, affected by fentanyl, affected by drugs, and homeless, and they don't have any incentive to get better. And the nonprofits and the administrators of these programs don't have any incentives to even help those people, because that's how they're getting paid. Having those people on the streets, right, doing drugs. And I think that's what it really needs, like a courageous leader to break that cycle, to say enough is enough. And we need to, different way to help those people by not giving them money and drugs to empower them, but truly help them to get off that cycle, right? And we need to, this is a big industry, right? This whole welfare type of servicing, it's just an industrial complex. And it's been for years, and I think that's where, there is some way to try to, President Trump to crack down a little bit there in his administration. They're barely like getting a little bit wedged into this in some of the states. But gosh, it's just rampant, fraud, Medicaid, Medicare fraud. And so much money again being wasted and being pocketed by insurance, by the intermediaries, and by this complex that it's not serving well, and it's just robbing really, the taxpayers, and not helping anyone.
The injustice of it is absolutely infuriating. It makes people so mad to see the money wasted in these criminals, professional criminals, taking money away from the people who need it the most. It's Dr. Oz was down here and he was asking a bunch of administrators, where all the fraud is in the hospice system. Is what he was looking at. This just a few weeks ago, and finally, he's getting hazy answers from them. He turned to the doctor in the room and he said, "Can you tell me where the fraud's going?" And the guy said, "Absolutely." Mm-hmm. And in about 5 minutes, he said, "Here, here, here, here." We're actually going to be bringing a fella down from Chicago who's going to help go around to a bunch of the sites here, and there are 2 or 3 folks here who know where a lot of it is, and hopefully in about a month or 2, it'll be coming up. He's going to put together a little documentary, and we'll find a lot of the bad actors here in the state and figure out why we're not prosecuting them more effectively. The 2 of the Medicaid investigators here put on a presentation that they've been giving to the Board of Medical Examiners for the last couple of years and to many other organizations, wherein they're begging for increased resources and for increased penalties for the perpetrators of these frauds. They know where these guys are and what they're doing, but the penalties that are being handed out by our Attorney General and by our judges are not severe enough to put these guys away for long enough that they'd look at it as trivial and they go and they commit the same crime as soon as they're out again. It's so frustrating. It's millions and millions of dollars being wasted every month. And it's appalling.
Yeah, and I think it's from the point that where technology and AI truly help to, from the system perspective, to really screen the eligibility for those programs and rescreen the participants as well. So, and I think that should happen. I'm not sure right now, probably happens on an annual basis, but maybe that should happen in a different manner. That when that eligibility is truly rescreened in a more effective way, and so the people that truly need the help, they can receive the resources, and people they just out there, they can't work or they don't have a specific eligibility for those to receive those benefits and services, they should be taken out of that list.
As AI is more and more utilized and has more and more of a role in our society, it's going to draw more on the energy grid. And Donald Trump is advocating very strongly to promote nuclear energy for this. And here in Nevada, we have miles and miles and miles of space for solar energy to help with this. What is the degree of importance of energy infrastructure? What are we doing in America to make sure that we have enough to meet this? And what do we need to do to be able to make sure that we overtake any of our potential competitors in the space?
Yes, and especially here in Nevada, I think there are about 63 data centers now in Nevada. And what is happening is we do have a lot of great space. We have the highest reliability actually index from our local utility NV Energy in the whole country.
Wow.
Yes, that's the highest ever. So we do have the great infrastructure. We have a new infrastructure. We have the most amazing landscape, I would say, in the whole country to build a data centers that we can, accommodate so much and harness so much power from the sun, from a wind in some parts of Nevada, geothermal, northern Nevada as well. And of course, we can also use really some other conventional means. We can expand our portfolio of conventional plants, right? And I think that's where the state needs to really attract more investors and companies that will invest more. And just now, they are building, for example, like OpenAI, they're building their own power plants to facilitate their data centers. And we need to attract those companies here to Nevada to do that kind of package deal that we build a data centers plus also a power plant, which could be a nuclear or could be a gas combustion power plant, or solar best, of course, and to facilitate that, and the access of energy that can also share with our grid, which will be benefiting all the residents here because it will lower the prices, right?
Yeah.
So it's like more supplies where you have, it will lower the electrical prices, which that's what we need. And there should be coming some type of sweet deals with like inviting those companies here to Nevada, build those data centers, power plants, and also with the end, so that would benefit all the residents to lower their electrical bill. I think that's a possible. Deals should be struck for on the state level. I hope you will come in there and you would take that initiative forward, to save everyone on the electrical bill.
That's such a good idea. I have not heard anybody in the country propose what you just proposed. And that's actually amazing. So like you could require that any new company that's coming in to put up data centers, they're going to have to provide their own power. I've heard that before, but I've never heard anybody say in addition to their own power, they should provide an additional 10% of power that they're going to put back onto the grid as a service to the community that they're in, and as a sort of repayment for the resources of the community that they're utilizing by being here. And that would definitely, because everybody would then benefit from lower power costs, and they'd be more than happy to have these people coming in to be part of our community.
Yes.
That is such an excellent idea.
Yes, and that's what we need. We need those type of programs, and we need to start making, bring them with also maybe some tax incentives, whatever needs to happen on the front end to kind of help them maybe with the front capex on building those plants. But on the long term, that's what the investments they should do in the communities here in Nevada to make sure that we all can benefit of that, right? Because as we know, as soon as the data center is built, I mean, there's a big construction cost, a lot of jobs we've been creating at the phase one, and when after that, you have just a few people servicing the data center. So on the long run, they do not create jobs, but in giving back to the community, they can provide us with access, 10% or whatever it is, put back to the grid, so it will reduce everyone's electrical bill.
Yeah, and I think, this is a big part of what's going on, with the war that's going on right now in America, in Iran. I think ultimately there are many, many theories about, why we're doing what we're doing over there. But I think the most important of all of the things that are being accomplished with that war is that we're controlling the energy resources for China. And it's going to force China to make some decisions about how they use their energy. Are they going to continue to use energy for their industrial complex, or are they going to utilize their energy to try to outrace America in the race for AI supremacy? And either choice they make, they're going to lose. Because if they take energy away from their industrial capacity, that allows America an opportunity to once again compete on a global stage for capturing the markets that they lose. And if they take the energy away from their AI infrastructure development, then it allows us to get that much further ahead in this race that will reshape the face of the world in the next 10 years.
Yes, and I think with the administrations, they're doing a really smart thing. They removed the Venezuelan dictator Maduro and just came back from Colombia. Everybody in Colombia, they're so excited about that because it was just impacting the whole region, the whole South America, the whole Latin America. Venezuela was just a bad actor, and they were bringing a lot of crime, a lot of just a bad thing. It was just spreading the whole region and affecting other countries. So this administration is doing amazing things, just cleaning up things that should be, we should clean up like many years ago and remove those dictators. And we know that in Iran, as soon as they will get the nuke capability over, there is no way we'll be negotiating with them because they will be empowered by having a nuclear weapon. It's like there's no way we cannot negotiate now with North Korea, right? We cannot just peacefully negotiate with them because they have a nuclear arsenal. It's a very different thing. So I think it was just a last kind of resort, but to enter there and to take all the nuclear arsenal they had. And what it was crazy what I learned that, and the special envoy experience, they were about to 1 week from enriching uranium to 90%, which is we give them capability to build 11 bombs. So it's crazy, and last year I think when we tried to bomb their nuclear arsenal, probably we bombed some, they maybe moved some. I mean, they just in that whole spirit of like they want to destroy us, and it's evil. I like can understand it. And we are just blessed with this administration that keep us all safe, right? And we hopefully, as you said, like we will stop China in that race. We are remove them from Venezuela, right? So that's their oil stopped there, and now from Iran, and now they have to look for new energy sources, which I think they're going to be turning into probably into Russia, and in China, I read it. They all AI on board. It's crazy because in the United States, we still not all on AI. Some people just they don't want to use it, the negligence, or they just afraid of maybe. And in China, like everybody is so bullish. I mean, just released in November, what's open cloud is, like the agent. Everyone talks about that. In China, everyone's using it. And here in the United States, just barely few people know what it is and how even to use it, which again just puts us so backwards that in China right now with open cloud, people creating solo companies, one-person companies, and having multiple different agents with that open source technology, and to build the whole pipeline, build the whole company together. And they're doing now, and they're super excited. I think we need to raise the excitement. I know that this administration does whatever they can to raise the excitement about AI and the innovation, and that's what we need to push forward to get really everyone like infected with that, so we can win this race.
I think that getting people excited about things and getting people excited about the future is a very important message. I think people are not so bullish on that because they don't think things are affordable right now, and they don't think that they don't see how we're going to get from where we are today to the version of America where people have an opportunity to afford a home and things are affordable and they can start a family and they can live a productive life and it's meaningful. And I think that's on the minds of a lot of very young people right now. But I think and I think they wonder why we're going to war in Iran. And I think they think the purpose of that war is either to benefit a foreign country or to who might be threatened by the nuclear arsenal of Iran, or to liberate the people of Iran, or to profit a bunch of weapons manufacturers, or to profit a bunch of people in the oil industry. And those are all people who will benefit from the actions the United States taking. But the most important reason that Americans are involved in that issue, and the reason that any American lives are being shed over there, is because the purpose of this war is to preserve a future and for America where the children of the people whose lives are on the line right there and their grandchildren have an America that they're proud of and that is worthy of preserving, that still has a economic predominance in the world where there's still opportunity. Because right now China has 2 to 3 times our population. They have our entire manufacturing infrastructure. They're racing like crazy to overtake us technologically, and they are continuing to manufacture the precursors for fentanyl that are being manufactured in South America and shipped into the United States that have now killed more Americans than all of the wars since the Revolutionary War. They have the capacity to stop this. They continue to manufacture it because they seek the deaths of Americans. Right now, what we're doing in Iran is to stop China's ability to generate enough energy to continue to compete with us successfully, and we're doing that for the future of the children of our country. Most young people I talk to, they know somebody who's died of fentanyl, either in their family or some friend. It's quite shocking how many deaths there are out there due to this disease. I think as You know what? When I see it, it's particularly devastating because you see someone who survived long enough to get into the hospital. So they've had the fentanyl overdose, they stopped breathing, and by the time I see them, they've had a brain injury and they've stroked out a big portion of their brain. And they've come to me to ask if we'll take off a portion of their skull to give them a small chance at survival. Most of the times we don't, and when we do, it's very hard, and they're young. You know, there's no reason for this to have happened to somebody so young and to go through what a future where half of their body's going to be paralyzed now because you know they didn't get revived in time with the Narcan that was coming for them, or that they were slipped this fentanyl into some other substance that they shouldn't have been using in the first place, but they shouldn't have been laced with lethal poison that's being manufactured by people in China who seek to destroy America. More so than any other enemy on the planet, the Chinese people are taking active action to seek the destruction of Americans. And Donald Trump was the first to call attention to this and aggressively pursue a defense of our country against them, to secure our border against the continued import of fentanyl into the country, to take active action to surgically remove the military, the paramilitary narco terrorists in Mexico who are smuggling these drugs into our country. And he is taking every action possible to protect Americans at home and abroad.
Yeah, and the history, I think, the Communist Party really took a lesson of history, the 100 years of shame in China, when China were addicted to opioids by the British Empire. Yeah. And after that, they got so addicted, the period started, the loss, the emperor, it started the period what's called the 100 years of shame, because the prosperity diminished, the society and everything, because everybody were doing, the smoking the pipes, sitting around, and they don't want to do anything. They don't want to do work. They don't want to do commerce, nothing. And they took I think the lesson, and they tried to do it to us now.
It's misdirected anger.
Yeah, it's misdirected.
You're 100% correct that the people who inflicted this misery on China were the British.
Yeah.
And the Chinese, instead of focusing their anger on the British, have decided they're going to focus it on the West,
right.
And that means America.
Yeah.
And that's a confusion and a misalignment that is leading China to their doom.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely, I think it's absolutely sad about that. And we need to, again, someone that will help to solve those type of problems, because it's how much time and resources are wasted in a hospital, like surgeons and medical staff, to try to revive those people's lives. They should never be there in the first place. And now, they become a really liability for the whole system. I mean, it's hard to say that, but we all have to take care of them, right? And it's just not a life to be impacted, paralyzed, like a vegetable, right? It's just so sad. So we need a leader that knows the healthcare, that knows the problem, from biology standpoint to the business side, to everything, to help solve this current administration with the right counseling, with basically consulting, which I'm sure you're going to be doing a lot next year with administration to put those. Have you thought about which committees you want to be actually?
It's energy and commerce.
Okay.
Every time I've been to Washington twice now, and this is the people in the Republican Party who I've spoken to. This is the committee that they think I'd best served on. And I think it has a tremendous amount of influence over both medicine, but also energy. So it very much affects our ability to be competitive in the AI space. And then the other committee will be open. And so I'm waiting really to have more discussions with people here in Nevada to see where I'd be of best service to the people here in our state.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we should all vote. Yes, I think we should all vote in the blockchain. Using a blockchain, I think we should all vote and figure it out, like where would be your best place in which committee.
If you could figure out how to execute that, I think that would be really fun, and it would get people used to the idea of using blockchain for things like this.
Yes,
I'd be absolutely happy to tweet out some instructions to everybody who's following us. And
that's how democracy should work.
That would be amazing.
We should really take a vote and put our representatives, like what we would like them to do for us, and and vote for that. It's just the perfect, democratic way.
I think that's a fantastic way to be an effective representative in Washington for Nevada.
Yeah, I would like that. I would love to help you with that, with anything I can. I think you're going to be amazing there. We are long overdue for a leader like yourself with that level of experience and passion and commitment to really, change our life for better.
I very much appreciate it. And I know you're so bright, you do so many things, and we've barely scratched the surface. So we have to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
For today, what do we need to, what would you like people to know about, or how can they connect with the project that you're working on to support what you're doing?
Yes, so absolutely. So we are working on so many different initiatives. And the first, we actually heavily investing in the real estate and including the data centers as well. And that is a traditional vehicle through Dragons and Angels Fund. We are also investing in venture companies with startups, helping them take off the ground and we like a co-partners and producing. I help them technically develop the product and take it to the marketplace. So that's the one thing, and we are exciting to be announcing that we're offering a new platform actually to invite everybody to participate, digitize the assets on one of our platforms to make available for everybody around the world to be a part of that and invest and buy those tokens and just really have a voice, especially in the companies, which companies they would like to see to succeed and to be fully funded, and also on the real estate asset side as well. So that's just super exciting project that we're working on it. Close to my heart, I also work on a project which is a credit worthiness. I really want to help young people to develop their credit in very early on. I know it's so hard myself also, coming from different country and for school here, no credit, and it took so much time, to build the credit with so many mistakes, and I wish to have a guidance in order to start that process earlier so I could, have just access to the American dream, because American dream is really not accessible without a good credit. And interesting fact enough, Nagy, about 5 million people in this country are impacted by this problem. A lot of them, they don't even have a credit. They don't have a FICO score. They're unscorable. The file is too thin. And they were born here and they don't have a credit. And they're like 35 years old. They're finding themselves like, I don't have even FICO score. I'm not credit worthy. And I'm just, gosh, I want to buy a home. How are you going to buy a home? You cannot. And it takes time to build it, right? Credit. And the industry I would like to really so passionate about people from 16. That's what they should think about, building their credit to 25 to get ahead and do the right thing to start opening the credit lines and trade lines so they can afford the American dream, because they do have to leverage. They do have to leverage their income with the bank loans and stuff like that in order to afford a house. And I hope you're going to make that difference, because the American dream, I think the 4 years, 2020 to 2024, it put us so far away from the American dreams, especially when I talk to young people, Gen Zs, it's just what, owning a home, really? I don't think that's ever possible. When I talk to the people, that's what they say. It's the last 4, prior administration, it's just make unachievable, right? And it's and I think that's hopefully will change with the new legislation that the big corporation like BlackRock, Blackstone, they cannot buy, they cannot gobble.
Trump just put that bill out.
Gobble up on those single-family homes. That those will be reserved for regular people, the average working hard, working Americans that can buy those homes with leveraging with the right facilities. And we need to get those rates down. We need to make the American dream affordable. And I know that current administration be really stressing on that. We got to get those rates down, to kind of move the needle and make higher affordability of those homes, because it's tied to the credit.
So along those lines, we had another fella who we spoke with who has a new technology for construction materials. And the construction materials they're utilizing allow less time to be spent constructing the home, and the materials end up costing less. And so with the reduction in time and reduction in the materials, the labor expenses and the materials expenses are lower. And those are two of the three components of the price of a home. The other is a price of land. And when you remove the gigantic hedge funds that are investing in medicine, you'll drop the price of land in our state. And so homes, at least, we should see over the next 5 years becoming more affordable as these new technologies are being utilized. What you see happening is that there's a resistance to adopting the new technologies and the regulatory structures in our state, and really in lots of states. They try to preserve the current set of rules because that's what people understand, and they're resistant to change because everybody who's already in the system is profiting on things the way that they are. And so those kinds of barriers need to be removed, and we need to rapidly embrace new technologies that are going to reduce prices and make things more affordable for Americans. Too many people create barriers to progress and lobby hard to fight innovation, and those people need to be removed.
Absolutely, and we should really foster, more programs for affordable housing, like tiny homes and, very innovative homes, smart homes that. Those programs should really we should put a lot of emphasis, because I think, especially young Gen Z people, that's what they want. They want.
No, I disagree.
Yeah.
I don't think they want tiny homes. I think they want a home that they feel is equivalent to the homes that their parents had or that people in the past have had. And I think that I think we should endeavor to create a society wherein typically what happens is technology evolves to keep up with the needs of people, and so we have technology that can provide for the needs of these people today, that is equivalently as nice as any home that's out there for that's affordable. We just have to utilize the technology that we have, and there are people who have captured the wheels of our regulatory systems and government that are preventing that.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the changing the mindset from renter to owner, and what it takes to become an owner, right, of the asset of the real estate. And you're right, the size will not matter, but I always say that people just comes down to the kind of perpetuating, is this even possible? So they may be also downgrading their expectations in the process, right, to figure it out, how that will ever happen, right?
And the work that you're doing to help young people to get credit will help to make that easier too.
Yeah, and the DARTS credit that I created is just with the first step to truly understand your credit. So if you don't have a credit or you have some credit report, you can simply analyze it and figure it out how I can make my credit better, because it really makes a difference. So if you have a 600 FICO score, in order to buy a home with some favorable rates, you need about 660, 680 FICO score. So this is 60 points. The 60 points, if you're able to bridge and have the right tools to do that, it can save you so much money. It can really make this something affordable for you that otherwise you would never get a loan even for that with the 600 FICO score.
So how do people find you, to follow you online? Sure. And is there a website they can go to?
Yeah, so it's dartscredit.com.
How do you spell it?
Darts, DARTS, like darts, like throwing a dart. Dartscredit.com. And I developed their very robust algorithm that truly able to analyze people credit and provide them with tangible, actionable plan how to bridge that gap, and whatever they want to accomplish. It's kind of reverse engineered. You want a home, you want this, it would take you 3 months and you have to do
that's very
this
useful
and
for
that.
people.
Yeah, it's very simple. And the secondary product is also for business owners and for founders, because we do really have to take care of small business owners here in the whole country. A lot of them, they're doing mistakes. They're using their personal credit to build their business, which is not good, because it will create a lot of burden on their personal credit.
Sure.
And I provide them with the tools how to build a business credit. So as little as like 90 days, they can build a business credit, which means they can get a credit card, line of credit on their business, and their personal credit is not attached to that.
That's going to help a lot of people immediately.
autonomy, and that can help you to build anything from startup to the restaurant to coffee shop, whatever it is, that you will be actually running this as a business. You're not going to rely on your personal credit.
All right, dartscredit.com.
Yes.
Got it. And if people want to follow you on Instagram or...
Yeah, people follow me also on the Instagram is Dr. _ my last name is ZAKOWSKA.
We'll have that on the screen so people can see that.
And the same, just ping me if you have any questions or anything that I can help and assist anyone. I'm more than happy to do that. Just send me a message.
Well, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so
amazing.
Much. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Ori Nagy. I'm running for U.S. Congress in Nevada's 3rd Congressional District. I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
This podcast is a campaign communication paid for by Nagy for Congress and authorized by me, Dr. Nagy. The views and opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the campaign or its affiliates. Discussions are intended for informational and conversational purposes only and do not constitute legal, financial, or professional advice. Any references to public policy matters reflect general positions and priorities at the time of the recording and are subject to change based on legislative process and voter input.